Welcome back, yelling and screaming NFL football Sunday. We've got a game going on in Germany right now. It is 14-13. Falcons up at the half. Sean, how you doing this morning, bud?
Not too bad, not too bad at all. Had a busy day yesterday, but was able to get home and get some rest and be up and ready for the show this morning. So, pretty excited for this slate of football today. How about yourself, Rick?
Not too bad, man. I was up and doing some stuff around the apartment and realized there was football on, so I threw it on all the TVs in the different rooms. So as I went about my tasks, I could watch football that didn't suck so far for the first half. I can't necessarily say the same for Thursday night's game. Obviously, you're the Raiders guy. Football analysis aside, is a 7-10 loss for the Raiders kind of a moral victory?
I would say so. I mean, it was a divisional game, so those are always pretty tightly contested. They usually play the Broncos pretty well. Um, I got a problem with the OC play calling. It's it's not enough for me. And then, I mean, the O line is not doing his job. Giving up 6 sacks. Nobody's going to win a game like that. The turnover battle, you lose that battle. I mean, yes, they did get a couple of picks, but they also gave up one and gave up two fumbles. So no one's winning a
Gino
game
was
playing
upset.
football like that.
Yeah,
And
a couple times he was yelling at dudes, and it's like, I think that's fair. That's legitimate. Like, the team is
you
not
want to
great.
you want to see leadership. You really want to see leadership from your starting quarterback, and I think that he's trying to do that right now. I say the same thing. I think that Bowers is the best tight end in the NFL. Not including this game. This game was a dud, but it was a dud on both sides on offense. And I think that the only reason why that Geno's had success with him really is because he's a big physical receiver. Uh, the Raiders' biggest issue is that their receivers are, for lack of a better term, twinks. They're these small, nifty, shifty guys who've got to get into open space, and so they got to be pretty damn open for Gino to get him the ball. Whereas, when he was playing with DK, playing with some of those bigger receivers over in Seattle, he could put the ball in some contested areas, and they would make a much stronger play on it. So I just, I think that they're got to do some work in the offseason to bolster that receiver core, and really just get some strength in that O line as well. They become pretty one dimensional because it's like, well, if the O line sucks, then it's not like Genti's going to go anywhere, and your secondary could just drop back, and so it's it's not an easy thing to do for an offense to be able to score when you don't really have the pieces together, and it's something that they wanted to work on. It's something that they need to continue to work on. But I am always optimistic that my team at some point will get it together. Unlike the Cowboys, though, I am not delusional. This ain't our year.
I do appreciate that the Raiders, at least analyzed their roster top to bottom, and at the deadline decided to trade, a strength and get, a perceived weakness in return. Obviously, I'm talking about Jacoby Myers trading away the only wide receiver on your team who's big enough to run routes. Is a choice. I don't know that he would have made any difference in this game. But
I
Sean,
think so.
I'm really kind of done with Thursday night football. This was the latest of many just absolute crimes against football and fan bases. These short weeks
Uh,
are no longer acceptable. It's not entertaining to watch. It's just it's such a
I don't.
distilled version of game plans, and I hate them.
I don't know about that, honestly. I've enjoyed some Thursday night games this past week. I mean, or this past season. I mean, Lamar's comeback, if you will. The Chargers blowing out the Vikings. I mean, that the Bengals Steelers shootout. Like we've had, the Eagles getting beat up on by the Giants in the Scatterboo game. That Scatterboo Jackson Dart game. I mean, a tight game between the Niners and Rams. Like the Seahawks in a tight game against the Cardinals in a game winning field goal. I mean, the Dolphins scoring a couple touchdowns against the Bills earlier in the season. I don't know. I think there's been some light on these Thursday night games. Obviously, there's going to be some stinkers. Every game is not going to be every game is not going to be a shootout, or it's not going to be as entertaining as you would like. Unfortunately, this was one of those weeks. I will say this: if there's a low scoring game, it's probably got one of those two teams in it. The Broncos, because their defense is pretty good. The Raiders, because their offense is really bad. And so it's
That's fair.
yeah. The problem with the Broncos for me is that they win these tightly contested games. They've won some of these tightly contested games, and I still don't feel like they've reached that next echelon yet. I think that they've still got some ways to go. They're not playing against the strongest offensive teams, and they're not putting up strongest defense, and they're not putting up the points that they should. They have enough talent on offense. They've got good enough. They should have good enough play calling to be able to put up more than 10 points on the Raiders.
I mean, obviously, still winning games. The Chiefs or the Chargers need to get it together right now, because if the Broncos, without their offense, can continue to win games, they're gonna put this division away. And my fear, if I'm any other team in the AFC, is this Broncos defense is insanely good. And you have all these quarterbacks on the contenders that aren't necessarily known for their mobility, right? The Colts, the Chiefs, the Chargers. Drake Maye is probably the most mobile quarterback outside of Josh Allen for playoff teams.
Lamar Jackson, the two-time MVP.
Let's see what happens.
The best running quarterback in NFL history. I love how you just left that name out like there. Like he did just throw 4 touchdown passes a week ago on Thursday. Like it was no big deal. Come on now.
I'm just trying to keep you on your toes, man. The Vikings fans are mad at me, so I gotta be careful how to handle that game. That's what I really want to talk about. But my point is that this Broncos defense can win playoff games on their own. Maybe not an AFC Championship game, right? But a first card or a home game at Mile High in January.
So here's my shtick to that though, and you're right. If it's a home game at Mile High, it makes it a lot tougher. It gives me some pause. It makes me go back to those Tebow days. But I'm telling you right now that there's a chance that they end up playing against a pretty strong quarterback coming off. If they close out this season playing really well and the Chiefs end up as a wild card, that's not going to be a fun game for them. If the Bills end up a wild card, that's not going to be a fun game for them.
That's what I was about to say. That's what we talked about last week. It's not out of the question that the Bills don't win their division. And that would be a nasty team to travel and come whoop on your ass. You get a home game and then the Bills come to town.
I mean, and then don't get me started. You're right about Drake Maye, but don't forget that defense is really stout as well. And so they'd be playing D versus D in that type of game, and their offense has not performed nearly as well in some of these tightly contested games. So if I'm them, I got some work to do on the offensive side, some play calling issues. I got Sutton's on my fantasy team. I thought he would be more of a role player, but there have been weeks where my man has just been getting donuts, just no real receptions, no real looks. And so they got some work to do on offense in order to become a real contender in the playoffs.
I guess let's jump to our game of the week, talking about Drake Maye. Make sure you hop on Chainlink and make your game of the week pick this morning. Patriots and Buccaneers. This is a elite level team game as far as the standings are concerned. I did not have the Patriots playing as well this year on both sides of the ball as they have been. I think that's been a fun surprise. And then obviously the Bucs. The Bucs are really good. I have some concerns about their personnel, but they're 6-2. They're at the top. They're at the top of their division. They're at the top of the NFC. So this is our game of the week. Let's start with the Patriots. What do you have on the Pats here? What do they have to do to beat a really good Bucs team down in Tampa?
Well, right now both starting running backs are out. And so I think that we're going to have to see a strong run game. And both of these teams have actually two of the top defenses as far as rush yards allowed in the NFL. You got 75 yards allowed, and 92 respectively. And so it's going to come down for me to which team has a better run game. Both of these teams have a stud wide receiver. I know you gave me a little bit of slack about real wide receivers, but don't forget Diggs is a 4-time All-Pro receiver, and Buka right now
was a 4-time All-Pro receiver. You don't get credit for
one 10 years ago. He was All-Pro 2021 to 2020 to 2023. That was literally, but one season off, and it was an off season. I'll give you that. I mean, no offensive line. We can talk about that all day long, but at the end of the day, the man he's a solid receiver, and Buka right now is potential offensive rookie of the year. So it's going to be a nice little battle there. Obviously, with Godwin out, a good win out, it's going to be a bit different of a game. But I mean, both of these teams really are going to have to run the ball. They're going to have to pound it. They're going to have to make sure that they keep control of it. The back half of the season for both of them looks really winnable. They could really close out both of them with maybe one loss, maybe two, depending on how well they play. It could be up to four, depending on how well they play here and there in the stretch. So, I mean, they could come out. Both of these teams could come out top of their conferences. If they stick it out and keep playing really tight defense. I mean, Pats, 19 points a game, Bucs only giving up 22. And I mean, really, if your team can stay on the field to give you the best chance to score, and your defense plays stout and keeps the other team off the field, I mean, hey, what else could you ask for?
In concern of being fair, Diggs is on pace for 90 catches and 1,000 yards. That's probably enough. I mean, the Pro Bowl's stupid, but that's probably enough to be in the conversation there.
I just think to put a little respect on his name. That's all. There's some guys right now in the NFL that are balling out at wideout. So I'm not saying that he's going to be all pro this year, but the man has some all pro years not too far ago. And last year's, I mean, what can you say? That offense was just not nearly as strong as some of the previous ones he's been in. So
the point I think I was trying to make here is if you're building a team, you're not taking Diggs as your wide receiver one.
I mean, it depends on what your options other guys. Are. Well, yeah, look, if you're talking about building a team from scratch and you got all the options in the NFL, of course, I'm not taking Diggs as my first guy. He's got a history. And, at the end of the day, there are some receivers right now who are absolutely incredible in the NFL that, Diggs is similar as far as talent-wise, but, the attitude. He's him and Pickens are, those type of guys that still have some issues off the field that you kind of worry about, and their attitudes kind of affect their gameplay. But at the same token, if you're a team and you're looking for a receiver and Diggs is on the market, you cannot tell me that you're not going to go after him. I mean, he would bolster any offense, whether you want to put him at a wide receiver 1 or you put him in a wide receiver 2 and pair him up with somebody like a J-Jet. What would you do in that situation? I mean, I don't know. For me, I think he's still definitely contributes to any offense. If I'm a Raiders fan and he's on the market, I damn sure want them to pick him up.
Yeah, I think for me, it's less of a slight against Diggs and more of building up Drake Maye. And same on the other side of the ball with Baker Mayfield. All you can do is play the reps you're given, right? Buka's been good. But I mean, the kid never sees the field if they're not 3 wide receivers down. So like what Baker and Drake Maye are doing on backup running backs, on shitty running backs in the case of the Patriots all year long, wide receivers that, sure, I mean, 1,000-yard receiving season is awesome, right? So maybe set Diggs aside, but behind Diggs, there's not another NFL wide receiver on this team unless you think that Booty.
I was about to say, Booty's name should be in that conversation. I don't know. Again, we're not talking about top 10. We're not talking about top 10 receiver duos. We're talking about guys who can contribute and get and make plays when the ball's thrown to him. And both of those guys are guys who are doing that right now for their team.
And like Butte's good, and like Trevion Henderson is good, and Mac Hollins runs routes sometimes, you know. So like, for me, it's more indicative of how good Baker Mayfield and Drake Maye are, rather than the wide receivers being bad or less than. But you know, if I'm looking at this, like Antonio Gibson is like playing meaningful downs for the Patriots. Like, why?
I mean,
And so, like,
I'll tell you,
what Drake
when you
Maye
got a
is
good
doing
leader,
is impressive to me.
when you got a good leader at quarterback, guys who got no reps, guys who didn't show up, are guys who start to show up. You see that with all the good quarterbacks in the NFL. I mean, we start
Every
talking
Patriots
about
team ever, besides the one with Moss.
you really start looking at these guys, and you start to talk more about the receivers being good when the quarterback puts the ball where he needs to every time. So I mean, kudos to Drake Maye. He is the perfect quarterback for that system. I know that for a couple of years they were hoping they could find their guy, and they really got him here. And I know that Vrabel is ecstatic about him on that offense leading that charge.
This game is gonna be a tight one, I think. There's been a lot of things that have kind of come up this year, and we don't seem to know what's gonna happen. A lot of our analysis has been spot on, and the score has been something completely different. Who do you have winning Patriots Bucs, our game of the week this week? And I think more importantly, why?
I got the Bucs winning this game. It's a home game. You know, you say what you want, but transitioning between cold and warm weather, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, it takes a little bit of a toll on you. They're playing, you know, they're going to play. Their backup running back is few and far between as far as backups go. It's not a big drop off between him and Bucky, and so I think
White's pretty good.
He's solid. Yeah, he honestly they're neck and neck as far as rushing yards this season and carries. Only a few more for Bucky, if I'm not mistaken, and about pretty much exactly even in rush yards. So like you can really make a case that they don't have as big of a drop off there. As far as the Patriots go, I mean, they're going to play a tight game here, I think. But at the end of the day, I think Baker's going to put some stress on that secondary. I think he's going to force them into some. To force him to potentially jump on some play actions, and he's going to get outside the pocket and get the ball to his receivers, and I think that's to his benefit. And so I'm going to go ahead and say the Bucs are going to take this one.
Line is 2.5, Tampa Bay.
I mean,
I like the Patriots in this game. I think enough to take them outright. Drake Maye does a fantastic job distributing the ball across all of these receivers, but more importantly, Hunter Henry. I don't know that the Buccaneers have a consistent answer for what Henry can do in the intermediate portion of the field. He has this nasty way of getting lost. It's like he engages to block, and he sells that block like better than any tight end in the league. And then it just kind of sits 5 yards down the field and is that release valve. And I think having that release valve might undermine the pass rush for the Bucs, because they can and will get to Drake Maye. But Drake Maye knows exactly where Hunter Henry is going to be sitting. And if he could hit him for 5 yards instead of losing 5 yards on a sack, that forward momentum, I think, is what's going to lead to sustained drives for the Patriots. I wouldn't be surprised to see Henry with 6 or 7 catches for like 40 yards. But for each of those catches to be meaningful catches. Yeah, and just keep those drives going. So as I look at the Buccaneers, you know, sometimes they drop a guy, but mostly it's like the nickel and the outside linebackers. I'm not sure they can pressure Henry or pressure Drake Maye and cover Hunter Henry simultaneously. And I think that's going to be enough to tip the scales for me. I'm going to take the Broncos the Patriots this week.
Okay. Honestly, it's going to be a good game. I'm excited, and I'm glad that we got this to be our game of the week this week.
Yeah, you picked this one early. I hadn't even started working on it yet, and you're like, "Yeah, let's do this."
Honestly, I saw it pop up and I was like, dude, you got to go with this. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are some good games on this slate, like some good divisional games on this slate. Some solid teams playing this week. But at the end of the day, I think this was definitely a good pick for game of the week.
I guess let's get into the board. As you said, there are some winners in here. Right now, 17-13 Falcons just added a field goal. Third quarter is now underway. But as far as games starting a little later, we got Jets and Browns in a game that is being played in the NFL. And Cleveland is 2.5-point favorite here, which both baffles me and I think might not be enough points. But I keep coming back to this game, and I think I have the Jets. I think I have the Jets winning this game.
I actually had the Browns win this game. The reason why I do not have the Jets win this game is because before the trade deadline, at the trade deadline, they fire sailed. So they lost some of their better defensive players. And I mean, Judkins has been a solid running back for the Browns. I think that today he runs all over the Jets. So yeah, I'm going to take the Browns in this game. It's going to be a stinker regardless. It could be a game where 50 points are scored by either team, or a 3-6 football game. It just depends on if the defenses decide to play and if the quarterbacks turn the ball over. And both of those things are going to be tough to watch.
I'm just glad it'll be over by the time Thanksgiving dinner today rolls around, because I don't want to see Chance cry. And this one might do it. Heading down south, Saints and Panthers. The Saints also traded away large pieces of their team. Couldn't manage to unload crappy Taysom Hill, so he's still going to be hanging out.
No one wants Taysom Hill, bro.
Well,
he's not.
The Saints do.
He's not a fit for any team realistically. You know what? Taysom Hill needs to be a fullback or a true tight end. I'm sorry,
coach in the MAC.
He should be a fullback or a true tight end. Make his ass block. Like, I'm sick of this, bro. What are you doing? Pay this man so much money to be what? He is not a Swiss Army knife. He is a box cutter that has multiple blades in it. That is not the same fucking thing.
Waste of a roster spot.
Yeah, they thought he was going to be
5.5 points. 5.5
honestly,
favorites here.
Honestly, let's give the Panthers some love. This has been one of my favorite Panther seasons in recent years, honestly. I never know what's going to happen out there. They're just out there playing fun football, and I got the Panthers in this game. But
they're only 2 games back of the Bucs.
Dude,
it's through it all, man. They're 5-4.
Think about this. The Panthers, wild card team, and even with the chance to win a division, but Panthers a wild card team in the NFC, and you got the Bills and the Chiefs as wild card teams in the AFC. Like, what are we doing here?
What would that be? 7-9, a 7-9 Panthers team that goes to Seattle and wins on like a walk-off safety. Like, just ridiculous, preposterous shit. But it's been fun. It's been fun to watch. It feels like the kid is finally like settling in a little bit. And I'm not sure he's good, but he looks more comfortable. So
I think honestly, this is what they were expecting and hoping for with him, and to build around. And now they actually feel like they could build around. We were talking last year. You were screaming about how he shouldn't be a quarterback in the NFL, and basically him and CJ Stroud basically switched places. Where all that promise that we were talking about from Stroud early on is now it's like, is this guy even going to play another year or two? Hey, though, no offensive line. I'm sorry, dude, but you can't tell me that getting hit a million times is going to make anybody be a better quarterback. Doesn't matter how many receivers you get back there. If you can't stand up for 2 to 3 seconds, you're not going to be able to play football in the NFL successfully.
Obviously, the Panthers have their running backs kind of sorted, actually.
Yeah,
I'm a little surprised at how well that's worked out.
I'm not, though. I'm not honestly. Dowdle was solid for the Cowboys last year, and I think
Understood. Well, if you
he
tell me that
was.
Christian McCaffrey leaves your team, you can't feel good about the road forward, right? But
I mean, the way that the
they've
team was
been
built
good.
around his, that's the problem with Christian McCaffrey, and it's the same problem I see in the NBA with guys like Jokic. Is when you build a team around a specific type of player, and that player it's not in or gone, your team looks like shit. If you build a team around one guy being the that's not a quarterback, a skill position player being everything and anything that you need him to be, then you end up having issues. It works out for a team like San Fran because every guy on their offense is a Swiss Army knife. That every guy is going to be a running back, going to be a wide receiver, and so that's different. But having one guy and that's the only guy you rely on, I mean, like, yeah, it's going to end up the team's going to look like shit when he's gone.
Yeah, Hubbard's been solid for them.
Oh, Chuba's solid.
The chubby hubby.
Mm-hmm.
Ravens Vikings. I'm gonna be careful here because the Vikings fans don't have a realistic view of the NFL in 2025, and it's driving me crazy, man. And I know what's gonna happen here, right? We know this Ravens defense is dog shit, but they
100%.
still are carrying that pedigree, right? And if the Vikings win this game, oh, we beat the Ravens, the playoff Ravens, and MVP Lamar and all that bullshit. And JJ McCarthy's going to have like 150 passing yards on 28 attempts. And like, I can't. A win's a win, right? And that's where I finally got to with the Vikings fans. They won. He won the game. He had 3 touchdowns accounted for. Cool. If I show anybody that friggin' box score, they think they lost that game by 40 points. Like, it was bad. Yes, a win is a win is a win is a win. Always in the NFL. It's the only stat that matters. Wins.
100%. And honestly, both of these teams right now are bubble
build
teams.
to wins. You have to build to wins. Like, you are not going to win long-term sustainably in the NFL with a quarterback throws for 140 passing yards. It's never happened since the 60s. Like, it's just not today's NFL.
It's not. It definitely can't happen with the way that this team is built. There are, in all honesty, the Eagles could do that. Their team could be built to do that. This team is not built like that. He's going to have to really, really put up some big numbers to be able to get this team over the hump. But they're Vikings fans are just as delusional as everybody else in the NFL. Every year they think that their team's got a shot, and so as a mid-tier team right now, as a 4-4, looking to get over that hump, looking to get over 500, and really start pushing and close out the back half of the season. I think they're going to put their best game forward today. They're going to try to show that their offense can outduel that Ravens offense. I think the Ravens got to put the pedal to the metal. They got to open up this game early. If you put the Vikings away early, they're not a back half team, in my opinion. If you put them away early, but their rush game has to be there today. And if it's not, if the Ravens get up big and you just let Derrick Henry push that ball down the field and run that clock, then it's going to be a tough day for him.
So let me take a deep breath and put aside all my Vikings hate and actually break this game down because the Vikings defense was phenomenal against the Lions. The Lions are having a weird year. They are still very dangerous on offense. They can and do score 40 points like it's nothing at all. The Vikings defense was incredible against the Lions, and a lot of it was great scheme. It's applicable to the Ravens team we saw last week. It is not applicable to the normal Ravens offense that we're used to. But if for whatever reason, whether it's pressure or game plan, if they can keep Lamar in the pocket and let that defensive secondary do work on those wide receivers, the Vikings can repeat the performance they had on defense. I think the Ravens defense is worse than the Lions defense. So it's
100%.
not inconceivable to me that the Vikings can replicate their offensive performance. So what I'm going to be looking for is how much time does Lamar have to find an open wide receiver? because this Vikings secondary is better than the Ravens wide receiver core. And I think if they can get to Lamar and force him to move around.
Hold on. Did you just say the Vikings secondary is better than the Ravens wide receiver core? Is D-Hop and Zay Flowers not their number one and number two wide receivers?
Old. And you know I don't like Zay Flowers.
Oh my!
But that's one wide receiver. That's one wide receiver.
We're talking about
Hopkins is like my age.
Every single game, Lamar Jackson has the opportunity and hits it more times than not to hit Zay Flowers on a pass of like 40 to 50 yards.
Okay.
Every single game. That's a touchdown. That's 6 points. That matters. Last time I checked, I'm going to say that if you're going to at best, they're evenly matched. Their secondary is not significantly better than their wide receivers. And guess what? If that's the case, then you run that bitch downhill. And you make that defensive line, you make that D-line deal with your 250-pound running back.
if I concede that Zay Flowers is good, can you never fucking talk to me about Hopkins again? Dude has 15 targets, 10 catches. Like, he's an afterthought. Sometimes, like, people don't see him in his old man walker, and so they don't cover him, and he's just standing downfield.
It comes down. Look, it comes down to how Lamar plays the game. And if you want to really talk about it, if your quarterback only has 22 attempts, and he's got to get the ball around the field to your Pro Bowl tight end and Zay Flowers coming down the field, which Mark Andrews gets most of the targets. He's also an efficient passer. We're talking about a guy with one more incompletion than touchdowns in the game. Lamar Jackson does not throw 30 times unless he has to. He doesn't throw. He's not a volume throw unless he absolutely has to, unless they get behind. Other than that, he plays a very efficient game. And so, yeah, if you're D-Hop in this offense, you are a phenomenal third choice. You're a really good third choice. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that he's the D-Hop of the past. I'm not saying that he's an all-pro receiver right now. But put a little respect on the man's name. I mean, you want to call him pedestrian, but at the same time, if Lamar throws the ball to him, I guarantee you, if it's a contested ball in the end zone, he's going to win that battle more times than not against even this secondary.
Hopkins hasn't had a real good season in the NFL since 2020. It took him 137 targets for a shitty Titans team to get over 1,000 yards receiving in 2003. I don't want to talk to you about Hopkins. All right, next game. Bills-Dolphins. Bills-Dolphins. Give me the Ravens to win that game. The Ravens beat the Vikings.
Yeah, I got the Ravens in that game too.
Bills and Dolphins. Bills are 8.5-point road favorites over whatever the Dolphins are going to put out on the field this week. Tell me how the Dolphins beat the Bills week 10.
They let the Bills implode on themselves. I don't know how they do it because they literally just maybe losing some of their best defensive players is going to help them. I don't know, because they were also one of those teams that kind of let go some pieces at the near the trade deadline. But I mean, realistically, you just need a 4 or 5 touchdown game from Tua. He's got to keep one eye straight at least, and he only needs one apparently. That's all he needs. You need A-Chain to actually be a running back. You need Jesus to show up on the field, because without Tyreek Hill, you're pretty much cooked. I don't know. Like, the Bills have to play down to the Dolphins in order for the Dolphins to win.
Well, and I think if you have a game where Tua does, say he throws for 5 passing touchdowns, that the Dolphins lose that game, because that means that the Bills are approaching 60 points. Like, there's not a scenario, I think, high scoring where the Dolphins can get it done. I think it would be more likely if it's like 15-14, like walk-off field goal, and like everything went wrong for the Bills and the Dolphins just barely get it across the line, you know?
I think the best player for the Dolphins this game is going to be the Sun.
It's too hot. It's too hot for the Bills players.
Not just that, but that everybody does. Everybody knows about the Miami or the Dolphins field design, right?
That
Their
stadium
field
is
layout.
preposterous, man.
It is absolutely why teams are allowed to build their own stadiums, and I'm here for it. It's the most Miami fucking thing you could do. For all the fans out there who are unaware, the Miami Dolphins, when they decided to build their stadium, they made sure that the sun was on the opposing team's sideline. They built it in the orientation so that during day games, the sun is directly over the opposing team's sideline. So on that sideline, when it's 85, 90 degrees in Miami, it is 115 degrees on that field with that sun blaring down on you. That's their best player this week against a Bills team who's going to be coming out of the cold.
The Minnesota Golden Gophers did the exact opposite when they built their new outdoor stadium for college football games. The building casts a shadow on the entire opponent's sideline. So during day games in Minnesota, there's no sun on the opponent's sideline at all, and they freeze to death over there.
Oh, honestly, hey, you got to have some smart engineers out there. Someone's got to be playing every single angle that they can. So I respect it. Go Gopher.
New York Football Giants and the Bears. Bears 4.5-point home favorites. I thought this was an interesting matchup. I don't know what exactly to think about the Giants. Obviously, they don't have their best running back. They don't have their best wide receiver. You have a rookie quarterback still trying to establish himself, but they're still kind of spunky. But for me, this is a game the Bears have to win, and I think they will win this. Rome was awesome. He's in a 3-game stretch now where he's having a hell of a time, but I think everybody gets back on track here for the Bears. Give me the Bears to beat the Giants.
Yeah, I feel the same way, honestly. It's also a home game, too. Probably is this the last season in Soldier Field?
No, there's no way they got one more that fast. There might be another one after this.
All right. Well, either way, I mean, honestly, it's. Oh, okay. Yeah, honestly, Caleb's got a chance here to really start to push himself into that conversation for playoff caliber teams, and it's going to be a fun season to close out the back half of the Bears. I think that they got to win this game, and they got to really, really start to make their move to make sure that they're one of those teams that we're talking about come January, in a good position for themselves to be able to have a chance at the playoffs.
2029 for the Bears' new stadium.
Oh, okay. They got plenty of time. All right.
Jags Texans. Houston a 1.5-point favorite at home. Davis Mills gets the reins this week. NFL ruled that hit on CJ Stroud legal and fair. Unfortunate that an injury will be the reason CJ Stroud doesn't put up good numbers this week versus the normal, which is where he just plays and puts up bad numbers. I don't know why the Texans are favored here. I don't know why the Texans are favored.
I don't know
ever. But I still think this is a race to the bottom of this division. These teams are not good. Everyone's chasing the Colts, so it doesn't really matter. But I mean, the Jaguars should win this one going away. Davis Mills is awful.
I mean, say what you will, but the Jags are 1.5 games back of the Colts right now. So
you buying that though? I mean, is that for real?
So here's the thing: it's all about strength of schedule, right? So you look at the Jags back half and you say, okay, they got the Colts twice, the Jets 2
losses,
the Titans. Are there 2 losses? The Colts right now are a team that's streaking in the wrong direction. They gotta show me this week. They gotta close this game out against Atlanta for me to keep them up there in that conversation.
Well, and I haven't scored in 2 quarters, I'm still so.
It's 4th and 1 on Atlanta's 19, so we'll see what they do. Probably take the field goal and keep that game a tightly contested game. Their offense looks phenomenal. JTT probably going to be Offensive Player of the Year. He is playing lights out football right now. Probably going to break the touchdown record too. He's on pace for it.
Yeah, he tied it this morning.
Yeah, he's going to.
Adrian James is in the building.
Oh, not just the edge. I mean, for the season, rushing for the season. I think he got a chance to break it.
He got a score
Yeah,
again today.
he's about halfway there. Yeah, but I mean that offense just looks really good. I mean, Pierce is looking good, Pittman's looking good, and so for me, it's going to come down to how they close out the season. If anybody can really figure it out, but if you're the Jags, you're not scared, right? You get to play them twice. So you get to test them out in each one of those, and you get to adjust the second game. They got the Titans twice to close out the season. They got the Cards in there and the Jets. I mean, like if you're the Jags, you have a pretty soft back half of your schedule outside of the Colts and a Broncos and Chargers game. So if you win this game this week, you can win out one of those two games against the Colts. You beat the Cards, you beat the Jets. You know, you get a tightly contested game against the Broncos. Maybe you win that game. Suddenly, I mean, what are we talking about here? We're talking about a potential, 12, 13 win team.
It's wild. That division
It's wild, right?
So bad. Cardinals, Hawks.
Battle of the Birds.
Seahawks are 7.5-point favorites here.
And rightfully so.
Jacoby Brissett, who put up very similar numbers to J.J. McCarthy, if we're being honest. No Kyler Murray here. I'm, kind of happy for the guy. He doesn't have to miss work to play Call of Duty now. Have we seen Kyler's last game for the Cardinals?
No, I don't think so.
He's paid too much money. I think he's going to stick around for a while.
So much money, they have to keep him around. It's so right. He doesn't really have trade value unless they basically fire sale him. And like, who wants to pick up that contract? Like, there's really nobody in the NFL who might want to pick up that contract.
The Titans,
the Browns.
Yeah,
they got 17 quarterbacks, and they're used to picking up shitty contracts. So, and if I'm the Titans, I'm not going to do that to Cam Ward. It's his first season on a team that's all god awful. The head coach. Yeah, but in all honesty, it's because it's what happens when they bring in these rookie quarterbacks. If you're the head coach and you got a rookie quarterback, you're being evaluated more than the quarterback is. In the first season, if you're a coach and they bring in a rookie quarterback, your ass is on the line that season. Because your job at this point is to start developing this guy. And if they see that you don't have any control, you've got no sense of what direction they want to move in, they'll just move on from you. It's a shitty situation if you're a starting quarterback and they bring you in and then your coach goes halfway through the season and you're expected to be useful. But I mean, realistically for them, just get rid of the dead weight and start moving forward. So yeah, and this game for Seattle's should have this game, but I will say this: Jacoby Brissett for a drop off from Kyler Murray isn't as bad as people might think. He actually doesn't give him a terrible chance to win this game, and it is a divisional game, so you'll love to see those games. Those are typically more hotly contested games. But Seattle just looks so good right now. Top 10 offense, top 10 defense in the NFL. The receivers are strong. The run game looks solid. Like Darnold's got that team looking really, really good on offense, and the defense is just, I mean, watch out. They're I don't know if they're Legion of Boom worthy, but they're doing a pretty damn good job out there. And as a home game, the 12th man is always tough to play in. So I'm going to take Seattle in this game.
Cardinals plus 7.5 is my trash bin spread pick this week, but I think it happens real late, and they lose by 7 points with a late touchdown. Lions Commanders is like kind of all of a sudden a huge game for both of these teams. They obviously playoff teams last year, good at times this year, injuries on the Commanders side. The Lions are, I think objectively we can say, a really good team. The Lions are also 5-3 and just lost to the Vikings. So I think this is a huge one for both of these teams because you could be close to on the outs with a loss here. Commanders are 3-6. I think if you lose this one, you're kind of done chasing a 6-2 Eagles team. Lions are closer, obviously, but I think it would be more indicative of systemic issues that good teams could take advantage of. So this is a huge one. This is one I'm really excited to watch today.
I'm definitely going to say that this game means a lot more for the Lions than it does for the Commanders. The Commanders are done. They're not making the playoffs. They don't have a shot right now with how well the Eagles are playing to win that division. And the only way that they were going to make the playoffs is winning that division right now. In my opinion, I'm going to say right now that the Eagles take that division outright. But if you are the Lions, this is a must-win game for you. You have to take this team out because you play the Eagles next, and then you got the Packers in a couple weeks. The Cowboys can put up 40 points like anybody. You got the Rams, and then you play the Bears and the Vikings to close out the season. Steelers are nothing to sneeze at, and so you are playing some pretty tough teams on the back half with some pretty significant games if you're the Lions. So you got to get up early. You got to get up big. You got to put the boot down on Washington's neck today, and then close out your season the way that you expect the Lions to close out the season, to be able to keep themselves in contention for that division. It's if they go down this week and we're looking at the Bears. The Bears or the Packers as the leaders of that division, it's like, what is happening right now?
Again, that tie is going to factor in here. Rams, Niners, Rams 5.5-point road favorites here. I got the Rams straight up. I think this is a really low scoring game, 13-7, 13-6, something like that.
Interesting. Honestly, the Niners are still there. It's been such a weird season for them. They have not had a healthy team, and they're still playing good football. I think their defense is still one of the most stout in the NFL, but they find ways to win. However, this Rams team looks pretty damn good.
This might be the best division in football.
I'm going to go ahead and agree with you on that one. I mean, this is giving three teams making the playoffs right here. That's why I said Washington's done, because they got no shot with San Fran or Seattle or the Rams.
There's 3 games back of all of them.
So there's no way in hell that they're going to make the playoffs. But I will say that this game right here is for the division potentially. And so obviously, you got to make sure that Seattle is in that conversation. But the Rams look really damn good. And if they can keep that, if their D-line can make Mac Jones, give him some fits, and, they're able to score on offense, I think that it's going to be I think it's definitely their chance to win this game. But it's going to be a tough division, tough end of the season for this division. But it's going to be fun football to watch. So let's keep an eye on it.
If the Niners win this game, I'm not sure Purdy gets his job back.
Too much money.
Does it matter? Yeah.
Money always matters. Who's going to take the contract?
I mean, he can sit on the bench. He could be the backup.
No way in hell. I'm not paying a guy $200 million a year to sit on the bench. Are you nuts? What I'm going to do is
if Mac is better?
Mac isn't better. It's a system. They're both system quarterbacks. I'm telling you right now, if Mac it just continues to play really well, what's going to happen is they're going to ship his ass somewhere else. They're going to pick up some high draft picks or get another skill player, somebody who's healthy, maybe bolster the O-line a little bit so everybody's not getting injured every 5 seconds. And they're going to shop his ass after this. There's no point in keeping a guy performing this well on the bench. And it's no point in keeping a guy you're paying $200 million for on the bench. So I think that this is a system quarterback thing. And he just happens to be in the right place at the right time. I think that another team is going to want him, and they're going to put some money on where their mouth is in order to get him next season. The Saints, great drop-off spot for him. He could actually flourish there potentially if he's given the chance. So I think that might be the move for him next season. I seriously doubt that Purdy's going to sit on the bench after this.
Yeah, if you look at their stats, they're very similar, except like escape rate. Like Mac Jones has no footwork at all; he doesn't move. But from a strictly passing performance standpoint, they're eerily similar.
Pocket quarterbacks get injured less often. So
Steelers Chargers is an interesting game. This really easily, I think, could have been a game of the week for us.
Rams Niners is going to be my second game of the week. Honestly, that would have been a tough game of the week, but this game right here means a lot.
Yeah. This will be a fun one. What do you think? Who pulls this one out in your book?
It's such a weird thing because both these teams can score, and both the teams can play stout defense at times, but they just don't do either one of them consistently enough to be that top tier team, in my opinion. I think that you see a strong performance from Rodgers on Sunday Night Football in prime time. I think he's going to try to do some things, to keep that offense going. But if you are the Chargers, you have to do whatever you can to keep this division in your sights. You have to. The Raiders aren't very good. The Chiefs they're streaking in the right direction, but it's any given Sunday. And so in the Broncos right now, the top of that division, if you're the Chargers, you have to win this game in order for you to keep pace with the Broncos in that division and make sure you get a playoff spot. If not, it's the same old Chargers. It's the same old Chargers we've seen where you get a 4,000-yard passer and you have a defense that should be above average and you end up not making the playoffs or, barely making it if you do. So.
Yeah. The Chargers run game, I think, is probably the crux of it here for me. If they can get Vidal moving forward in a meaningful way, dictating the pace and the physicality up front, I think gives the Chargers the advantage in my mind. I don't know who the better quarterback is statistically in this game, but I think the Chargers do enough to win the game.
I'm going to go. So, I mean, if you're talking about, they both are very close as far as touchdowns. Herbert's thrown more picks. So he's definitely, he's definitely more of a risk there. But I think, you're right. The Chargers run game is going to be most indicative of what happens because if they become one dimensional and all you got to do is stop McConkey, then don't get me wrong. Quentin Johnston and Keenan Allen are phenomenal receivers, but that if the run game isn't working, McConkey becomes that safety net across the middle. So if they can't get the run game going, and all you got to do is get those linebackers to sit back there and just sit in the middle of the field, then it becomes basically Herbert just throwing to the outsides all day long, and it's a lot easier for them to just push those receivers to the sidelines. So I think it's and Watt is always a guy who you got to look out for. So I think that they're going to have to run towards him, keep him out of the backfield. That gives you the best chance to win the game.
Monday Night Football, Eagles, Packers. Packers 1.5-point home favorites here. I like the Eagles to control the pace and win this game going away.
Can we talk about how Howie Roseman fleeced the NFL once again at the trade deadline? This man he's a master at this. I read a statistic somewhere that if you move back in the first round by 3 spots, which is what he likes to do, he'll drop 3 spots to pick up a 3rd round pick or 4th round pick somewhere. And then what happens at the deadline is that he ends up trading in a way that random ass pick that he got for free, because you move back 3 spots in the first round and you still end up getting whoever you were going to draft like 95% of the time. So he fleeces the NFL he picks up 2 corners and the D lineman. Now they've got 7 guys back into that rotation on the D line, and you pick up 2 more corners. So now your corners are, now you're bolstering that. And don't get me wrong, it's not like necessarily both those guys are playing exceptional football, but really it's like throw a bunch of darts at the board and see what sticks. If you can move, so you can start moving some guys inside and outside. You can get rid of the dead weight on in the secondary, and they've got some decent performers in that secondary when their D line is really doing what it needs to do. So I think that realistically the Eagles just got better on defense, and it's in a time when their offense is starting to click a little bit more, and they're getting to be more not just one dimensional anymore, where it's not run it with Saquon. What do we do on 3rd and 5? So it's looking real dangerous right now for the Eagles.
Yeah, the Packers are so confusing because they lose to the Browns. They give up 40 to the Cowboys. I don't I feel like I have no idea who they are. I think if you told me 4 different outcomes for this game, I would believe a wide variety of games. I mean, they beat the Lions, who, we've seen be a little more suspect. They beat the Commanders, who at the time we thought was a playoff team, lose to the Browns, tie the Cowboys, beat the Bengals. Great game against the Steelers, and then they have a stinker against the Panthers. Like, I don't know enough about what is happening with this Packers team to like speak authoritatively on it. And I think the consistency in application of scheme that we see from the Eagles should be enough to overcome whirlwind crazy bullshit. I think the Packers can probably score more points on offense.
Not without Tucker Kraft. Not without Tucker Kraft. Not without Tucker Kraft, baby. I'm telling you right now, that man is Jordan Love's safety net. And without him in that offense, their team becomes a lot more manageable. I mean, realistically, can we talk about the fact that Williams has more receiving touchdowns than Matthew Golden? Can we talk about that? You know why? Because Jordan Love throws off his fucking back foot. He throws off his back foot.
Only every drop back.
Every single fucking time. He can't hit Golden in stride if it saved his fucking life. And he's got the speed to do so. I mean, their one solace and consistency on their team is a guy who I always advocated for in Josh Jacobs. He's playing great. He's playing good football right now. 10 touchdowns on the season. 141 carries, 534 yards. The guy is a staple in that offense. But what it comes down to is when Love needs to get the ball to the receivers, can he do it? You can't. If the Eagles' defensive line is going to put pressure on you, they're going to put as much pressure as they possibly can, and he's got to get the ball to some. He's going to have to do some dump offs. He's going to have to get the ball out of his hands as quickly as possible in some of these sets. And so you got to look at, is he going to be? They're going to have to shorten those routes for those receivers, and without Kraft in the middle of the field, I mean, like, it's going to be a tougher game. Likewise, the Eagles can do anything to get away from Micah Parsons. I mean, realistically, their offensive line is good enough by itself without having to add a tight end blocking to get away from Micah Parsons. And either they run away from him or they run to his side or they play action. Like, they got a lot of options here, whereas I don't think the Packers have the same options that the Eagles do. And then you've got 2 number 1 wide receivers. Say what you want, but the numbers don't lie. Both these guys are 1,000-yard receivers. On the Eagles, and their tight ends, nothing to sneeze at. I mean, like, they just have a much more well-rounded team. And Jalen Hurts is, for all the QB snubs that they give about pure passing and this and that, the man knows how to win football games. He wins football games, and he's been doing it for the entirety of his career. So he's poised back there. He's got that offense under control. They're moving forward. He's starting to become more of a passer. And if Jalen Hurts suddenly becomes a 250 to 300-yard passer on a regular basis, what do you say about that offense? Because then that just opens it up for Saquon.
Yeah, and that's scary. Really the crux of it, right? If Saquon's got some room,
it's a wrap, bro. It's a wrap. And Tank Bigsby's their backup running back, which I loved him back. I loved him down there in Jacksonville. So I can only imagine when Saquon's tired and Tank Bigsby comes in, he still gives you 100 yards rushing. Like,
inactives are in. Get your lineup set. Get your bets down. No Boutte for the Patriots. No Hassan Reddick for the Bucs. Give me Hunter Henry to the moon.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely correct.
That's going to be a big one. Nothing else really too surprising. Sean, do you have anything?
Levante David's healthy, though. He's in. Levante David's in. He's healthy, not questionable this week. So, I've got him on the fantasy team. Honestly, I'm excited for another fun week of football. Yesterday, we did a soup competition. Shout out to the winner of the soup competition for a smoked chicken elote soup. I want to give a quick shout out to that. Your boy made a soup dumpling soup, and it was phenomenal. And it we're getting to that point now. We're in Arizona. We're getting to that point now where the weather starts to cool down a little bit and football just starts to feel right. It just starts to feel like that's what the season is. Like Arizona's weather is hot and hotter, but for a small portion of the year, we get similar weather to other parts of the country. And football season is just a great time to sit outside with your friends and have brunch and watch some games and just so I'm really excited about that time of the year. I know, Ricky, I know you love it too. The AC off, the windows open. That's what we love here in AZ. And yeah, this is going to be a good week of football, y'all. Make sure you get your bets in, Phantom odds. Make sure you get your bets in, Chain Link. Make sure that you sit down with your friends and family and enjoy the time that you have, because the season is almost over. In the blink of an eye, it'll be gone, and then we'll be begging for another one.
I mean, hey, nothing like football. Nothing like the NFL. There's not a single sport touches it as far as I'm concerned.
I love it. I love it every day. If I call my favorite thing is I can call my mom, I call my dad. I'm like, hey, you watch the game? You watch the game? And they know exactly what I'm talking about. Football season is upon us. Let's breathe it in. Let's bask in its ambiance, and let's go out there and watch some fun games today, guys.
Oh, yeah. Hey, this has been Yelling and Screaming. Good luck, NFL Week 10. We will see you same time, same place next weekend. Enjoy. This is a stacked schedule, y'all.
Take care. Have fun.
Peace out.